he's a very large energy, and he's gone to quite a few people because he felt that he left earlier than he needed to. How did he put it?
Now we're speaking now of John Denver, is that right?
Right. He said, I could have stayed. I just didn't wait long enough to see what would come up next. He felt like he didn't consciously think this way, but of course the subconscious is powerful. And on that level, he felt like, well, he'd done pretty much all he could do. He didn't have the big record deals anymore, and he'd made money, and his kids were launched, and it was like, I guess he didn't feel he had any more mountains to climb. Uh, and so that's why he left when he did. But he has said to several of us in the group, our meetings and meditations, that he wished he had just given it some more time and waited, because there's always something more. And I think that's the first message that he really wants to bring to you today. And so I'm not really going to channel him, but I am going to, he's telling me what he would like to share, although he'll probably work his way in. Because we work so closely together, sometimes it's hard to tell where he is and I am, and where it stops and where it starts. But he said he really wishes that he had just given us some more time and waited. And his message was, if you think you're at the end of something, just wait a little while, because there's always something more. There's always something more. There's an endless amount of more. And if you do want to leave, that's fine, but be aware of the fact that just when you think maybe you've done it all that you need to do this time around, maybe you haven't, because the higher nature knows so much more than we do on a physical level. And he said, granted, I wasn't as in tune to myself as I am now, he said, but even then, I realized that I missed things because I left earlier than I had to. And it's not a matter of needed to. He just said it's a matter of had to. And it's always our choice when we leave, no matter whether it's from an illness, an accident, or taking our own lives. We choose our time. He said it's a very rare instance when there is an actual accident. It does happen, not like his accident. He'd already made the choice of leaving, and he said, I left kind of dramatically. It's like you think. And he said, I instantly regretted the fact that I was gone. And he said it wasn't intentional. It's not a conspiracy. Nobody did anything to me to silence me. It is just what happened because of where I was in myself. So basically, he says, I really feel like I need to sing something, but I don't think that's going to work today. So he's hoping that you will reach out and touch him. What are you going to be, a cliche of song titles? Reach out and touch somebody's hand. But anyway, he's here. Give me a minute. I got to let him come in a little more deeply. Thank you. John is saying, when I first came through Jeanne, she didn't have any idea what to do with me. She was in a really bad relationship with a gentleman, and I had just passed, and her friends were visiting her, and they had a little meditation, and I came through, and she had no idea what to do with me, because she liked me, but she was not a John Denver groupie. And but I sat a certain way in her, and she's always laughs at me now when she sees different programs when I'm being interviewed or something, and how I'm sitting. I'm set the same way in those programs that I do when I first came through her. And it's kind of, we talk about evidential information. That's part of it. He said, but I've come today not to steal on the coattails of the dodecahedrons or any such thing. He said, but I come in to want to give you the energy and how you feel the intensity of the greater reality that we talk about being there for you to to really connect to on the deepest levels possible. He said, I sit here and I listen to all of you and I watch you and I see you, and it gives me great hope and great pleasure. And I'm so honored to be a part of, even for a moment, this wonderful group that has such an understanding of the cosmos and the world, of the environment and everything. And he says, of course, I was an environmentalist before it was popular, and I was very much into feeding the poor before it was popular. He said, and I had a hard time with that, because when you talk about ego, because I've been listening to your program, he goes, the ego in me wanted more recognition. And I realize, of course, now being over here as long as I've been, that the ego can be a good driving force, and then it can not be a good driving force. And that's what led to some of my disappointment in the way the world was receiving me. He said, but I definitely have been making up for that, as I have been with many others. Um, he said, I don't want you to think that I sleep around much with mediums. Ha ha. He said, but I do shop around with mediums, only for those who have the integrity to treat me as one of the many friends that come through with sharing words of encouragement. And one of the things that I would like to share with you now is about what I had said to through Jeanne and to her friend Roy on the 4th of July. And that was that with all of that's occurring in the world right now, when you talk about being centered and being in the I am, and being aware of your surroundings and being clear, he said, it's not going to be enough to be in the center. I would like you to think of yourselves as a ship and using your stabilizers, because the way the winds are blowing, the way the tides are changing, the way the world is moving, it's very important for you to think of the stability and to stabilize yourself like a beautiful cruise ship would, with your arms outstretched, stabilizing yourself through the rough journey over the waters. And he said, I found that to be to give you more than just, be in the I am and use the light. He said, but use those stabilizers. He said, that's everything when you're a pilot, even when you're out of the water and you're flying the plane, you have to have the rudder working and the stabilizers working and everything working to be able to stay afloat and to stay flying and to stay out of danger. And so if you could incorporate that thought of using a stabilizer within yourself as things are going to get tougher and uglier and more profoundly abhorrent, you're going to need that stabilization. You're going to need to know not only are you in your center, not only are you in your shield, but you also have your stabilizer out so that you can stay forward focused and keep things moving forward. And he goes, Gordon, I like channeling with you because you're a poet and I'm a writer, and we have the same kind of mind when it comes to writing poetry and saying what we feel. He said, but I would say the one difference is that I'm a German stubborn head and you're a Scots, and that is a different kind of stubborn. He said, but I've enjoyed having the time with you. And he said, and you're a little bit of a rogue, he said, but that's okay. That's why I like you too. Jonas, he said, I wish I had been more of a rogue. He said, I was a rebel, but I wasn't really I was a peace, love, and dove rebel. I was a flower power rebel. I wasn't a rebel uh, of great valor. I really didn't rub people the wrong way, except maybe my ex-wives. But other than that, I tried to still be included in a normal way. And I look back on it and think I should have been perhaps a little more valiant and outspoken. He said, but that's not really why I came in today. He said, I work very closely with Jeanne. She and I have a very deep spiritual relationship. And there was a time when she and I might have worked together in this lifetime, but we both had to make different choices. So in some ways, we're trying to finish what we weren't able to finish if we had made the choice to stay around each other instead of the choices that we did make. And so there's this relationship between us, and it helps to keep me continuing on doing the work that I didn't finish. And it also helps her feel protected and safe because of all the things that have gone on for her in her life. So it's a wonderful thing when you realize that there are no limits to connection with spirit, and that you have all these wonderful choices of being co-workers, whether you're in a physical body or not. And I have chosen to stay around the earth field simply to continue on with influencing and people to remember what I sang about and what I stood for, not for me as John, but for me as a person representing a higher consciousness and a deeper awareness of the world. I had a fun time with one of Jean's friends. It's actually a friend of her daughter's, and she does flower arrangements and she grows her own flowers. She's wonderful. And she puts up on the social media every once in a while a little pictures of her putting flowers together, and she was singing one of my songs, and I purposely wanted Jeannie to experience that so that she would know how I'm everywhere. And she was singing Country Roads, and it was funny because she wasn't on the radio. Sarah was just singing it while she was making her flower arrangements. And there's a beauty to that, not because, again, of ego. It's a matter of what you connect to, and connect to whether it's my songs or it's the Beatles songs or it's Bach or, Mozart, but the higher consciousness, expansion and love and light. And from over here, the way things are right now, if we were to look at the globe from where I am, the United States is real dark. It's like there aren't a lot of lights on. Other parts of the world are brilliant, and yet there are other places of the world that are dark as well. And so one of the things that we do, I have a little group over here that I work with, and that is that we just envision a thread of light being sown through different communities in different states and countries, but particularly the United States. Or we've been working on the South Pole, and been weaving energy in the South Pole, because that's the foundation of the earth, and letting that access and filtrate and then move up energetically. And the intention of this weaving and what we do is the dodecahedron energy, is the 12 sides, is the ultimate love and light, which is the ultimate language of the universe. And so that's what we're charged to do. Other groups are doing other things. And there are many people who leave the planet and then don't ever look back. But we feel, because we've been with this group for a long time, we've been with this planet for a long time, the need to help it right itself and realign itself and come back into the place of tremendous new growth and inspiration and transformation. And it's not something that's going to happen quickly. There isn't going to be a rescue from the alien groups coming down and saying, pay attention. We've tried that, he says, before in other cultures and civilizations long ago, and it didn't always turn out so well. It's still an exploration. We're still exploring. They said, I know I'm running out of time, but I wanted you to I wanted to just encourage you, besides the stabilization, to understand that you might feel yourselves wanting to leave the outer world for long periods of time. You might find yourself seeking only a few friends to keep and finish yourself spiritually aligned. You might find yourself taking daily time to align and to stabilize, and to understand what is taking place and why, and what it is that you are and can do to be at peace. And he said, Seth is going to be speaking through Jeanne in August to give you more technical pieces of information he said Seth is a very challenging entity to be around. The vibration is quite stunning. He said, but if anything you can carry with you, if you carry songs of mine in your hearts and sing them, it's not because of John, the personality. It's because John is connected to a higher energetic, and that is what I would love all of you to feel and to join in, because there's a wonderful a weaving of energy when you sing similar songs together, and it brings in consciousness. It's like dancing. It's like any kind of music that you play or sing or do. It just brings in this wealth of peace and understanding. And it's necessary that you dance and that you love and that you enjoy one another and that you spend time together, because that is what is going to sustain you in this transitional time place. Because I wish I had more time to share more of what I get and more of what I see. Not that I'm any more adept than some of the more advanced gurus, he said, but I have been over here long enough to know what I know and see what I see, and that I still continue to relish walking in the forest at night, or sailing on the high seas and swimming with the dolphins, or the wonderful whales and the creatures of the sea, because as a spirit energy, I can do that. I can put myself in places where I couldn't take my body. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for all of your love and support in this world, because it needs every bit of you. You just cannot know how important you actually are. And so I've just come in to tell you that and say, far out, but I don't like that part of me anymore, or those granny glasses. But I love the love of the greater reality, and I love the love from all of you as you do your daily work without benefit, simply just being who you are and bringing yourself to the table of life. And with that, I'll sign off.